Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Amelie gets fairy dust. You know she's in the room. She's over there being comfy. It's time for a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch. Let's do this shit. I have a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch. Thank you for asking. When I'm visiting my mom or in-laws, and other times as well, I drop into a mode of being passive and disengaged, sort of shut down. It doesn't feel good, but in a way it also feels like the best I can do, as opposed to being in the parent mode role and trying to solve everyone else's problems. Then it takes me a couple of days, if not weeks, to come out of it. I don't feel like shutting down and even depressed. And she asks, is that freeze mode? I like being an engaged, energetic, vocal person. How can I re-energize myself, or at least honor and gain traction when I do shut down? Thanks for the encouragement and fairy dust. Thank you for asking. Okay, couple things. One is, here's my hunch. Here's my hunch about what's happening. So a lot of times in recovery and also in therapy, as a therapist, I say this, as a client, I've experienced it. Sometimes things get worse before they get better. I just did a video of the Codependent No More book that addressed this. And so it might be helpful to see that. It's talking about, being a rescuer, and when we were like, okay, I'm trying to be in recovery, like you said, you were used to solving other people's problems and all of that. Well, now you're not doing that. And there's a lot of feelings. I'll put the link to the codependent video in the description, so you can go right to the video, or it'll pop up. And so okay. So a thing that is said is things get worse before they get better. Things get worse before they get better. And why is that? It's because, like, we've been doing this thing this whole time, rescuing, solving other people's problems, fawn mode, right? And we're trying to get here where we feel confident and we're solid and we use our tools so we don't fall into the fawn mode. Well, guess what has to happen in between that? Just a bunch of falling down on our face, forgetting, because these are all unconscious things that we're attempting to make conscious, and then we're also trying to replace the dysfunction with new things. Well, that doesn't come. It only comes through practicing it. And just like speaking of fawns, like a baby deer walking, baby horse walking, baby walking, it's kind of a shit show at first. Like, it's a lot of like this and oh God. Like, I can remember when I first learned how to set boundaries. Like, I had this sheet that I kept by the phone, and when I tried it, like, it would just fall flat, or the person would make fun of me because they could hear I wasn't being natural. I was talking in tools and I was very good at it. So it just sounded like a robot, and this is what I say. And so it can be very awkward. And, what's called for is just a lot of self-compassion and self-understanding that, it's not going to look great sometimes. And then also in that period of time of like, ugh, the other people are not, they're either increasing, whatever hook they tried to give you to get you to do it before, they're going to increase that. They're going to put more bait on the hook, so you'll do it, and then that's harder to resist. And again, in that video I just did, I talked about the discomfort we feel, the anxiety we feel for not rescuing. Like, it's work. It's an expression of energy. And so, while we're in this middle stage, we're not going to be our energetic, gregarious self or whatever. But the only thing to do is keep going, because it does get better, and it becomes part of what we do. Like, another way you can think about this middle time of like, I'm not there, and that's great, but I'm not there yet, and that's fucking annoying. This middle time, you're forming new neurons. Like you're pruning old shit that your brain is like working, like, oh, we're not going to be codependent. Well, I guess we don't need that anymore, so let's get rid of that. What are we going to be doing instead? Like we're forming all these new connections and new understandings and new insights, and so it's just like and that's exhausting. That's exhausting. So that is my hunch of what is going on. And the other thing that I want to say is that it's really, really, really hard to be fully conscious around our family of origin or our spouse's family of origin. It's just really hard, because what can happen to the spouse is they'll regress into their, child mode or whatever. And then it's like, where the fuck did my partner go? Why is my partner like 5 years old now? Why is my partner doing things that they don't normally do in our relationship? Well, it's because they regressed and now they're fitting into their old family role. So that's fucking annoying. But guess what? Turnabout is fair play. Is that the saying? He has to put up that with me. Like, I'm gonna go fully unconscious around my people. It's just the way it is, and it's not bad. And we don't have to say that the people, our family of origin, is bad. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that it's just so easy to forget and regress when we're having conversations with people we've had conversations with forever. And so just know that it's harder. So my guess is that if you went somewhere else with your partner, it wouldn't be that. Maybe it's still going to be it's still a little clumsy, because we're still in the process of, changing from, trauma responses to using tools and being conscious in relationships. So there's still that, space of it being super, super awkward. And again, the antidote is just so much self-compassion, and just knowing that there are other advanced bitches out there doing this shit that, I fall on my face all the time. Still, sometimes I fall on my face. And I also want to say, like, no matter how good we get or whatever, we still can be triggered. And it's not even our fault. Like it just happens to us. And again, like, I'm good with that. I'm advanced, but I'm not perfect. I want to be advanced. I'm not interested in being perfect. So, anyway, so I hope that's helpful. You're doing great. You're doing great. Even just asking the question and being able to, make sense of it. And yes, I do think that for me, what comes up for me is this would happen to me, and it would put me in freeze mode. So it's kind of like I would look at it as, I'm kind of setting aside fawn, and another trauma response is going to come. But look, it's not fight. That's great. So we don't have to get in a fight with our family. And flight mode can happen too, like getting busy. It's like, oh, let me get busy in the kitchen doing dishes. Oh, let me get busy taking care of the kids. Like I could do that. But it sounds like it's kind of shut down. And remember, like, it's exhausting. It's mentally draining to be conscious. It's not going to take that much energy down the road. But when we start it is. Like, when I, start trying to change a behavior, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I'm trying to make my fucking bed every day. And it's not so easy because I get up first before my husband gets up. And so it's not like I can just hop out of the bed and that's my cue to make the bed. So I have to kind of remember and, but I just really want to do it. I kind of want it to be like a keystone habit. I really like walking into the bedroom and it's made. It's bare minimum. Like, it's just pulling the sheet over, whatever, the comforter over. It's not like I'm making it, I don't have 25 pillows. That's too overwhelming for me. Think, but it takes energy to remember. And I'm working with like an accountability buddy, which is really, really helpful. And I told her that I don't think I made my bed today, because that's like one of the habits that I'm working on, along with a couple of others. And then I went up and looked at it and I did make it. I don't remember. I was like, oh, better than I thought. So I just want you to know, like, this is the process. This is the process of changing our behaviors. So anyway, I'm so glad you, oh yeah, so that's my hunch about it. But again, to me, it's not like, as you know from connecting with me, knowing I'm a freeze mode, I have no problem with being in freeze mode. And sometimes it's just got to be like that. But for me, I'd rather fall into like a freeze mode or a flight mode trauma response than fawning or fight mode. I'd rather steer clear of those two, and for a while I might have to be in flight or freeze. Again, mostly freeze for me, but sometimes flight, just to get in another room or something. But I'll take it. I'll take it. And then over time, that's not gonna be the case. You can step aside fawning without another trauma response coming to rescue you. To help you manage this new behavior. It'll just be, more effortless and not so clumsy and things like that. But anyway, you're doing amazing, and I'm so proud of you. And it's just so neat to, to be doing this work on the planet where you're doing it too. So love you. Bye. Hope that was helpful. Bye.